Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I am David Szafranski, your host. You can call here 1-800-344-2534. You can email Corey Nixon. We'll put the email running down below. You can do a lot of things to get in contact with us if you'd like us to review a portfolio or run a question by us. It doesn't need to be about, you don't need to become a client to ask us a question. Okay, this is not an angle to create new business, not something we need. But if you don't know who to trust, if you feel like you're getting scammed, my mom, someone just tried to scam my mom, and they almost got away with it, but I got a hold of her, and we've had a lot of people, a lot of very smart people. You don't need to be ashamed when somebody is trying to scam you because they're really good at it. They try hard to do it. My mom almost lost a pretty big chunk of money. She had it in cash sitting on her kitchen table when I called her. And if you think that's happening to you, you can call here. We'll talk to you. There's several people here that can run through things with you. I want to make sure that you guys are doing the best you can with your money, and so that you could give it away at some point in time. I want the best way to find out or to figure out if money has got control of you, give it away and see what happens. Does it burn a hole in your heart when you give money away to a charity that you like? If it does, give more away, get better at it, because money is getting a hold of you. And what I don't want to happen is I don't want money to control you. I want you to control money. How do you do that? You budget, you plan, you know your finances, and you give money away. If you can do those things, you probably have control of money and not the other way around. So today, there's several things I want to talk about. Number one, we go to the Amazon, Nativos USA. We're going, there's several trips heading out, one in September, one next year in April. And the boat is in need of an emergency repair, and so we're raising money for that. It's about $7,000. We have some money raised already. I'm going to put the QR code on the video. But if you can't do that, if you're not watching the video, if you're listening to this, you can go to PayPal and search Nativos USA. There's a space there, Nativos space USA, and you can donate. Just put it for boat repair. You could just give the Nativos. So we want people to donate. We want you to go. We want you to go on a mission trip. But if you can't go on a mission trip, you can do one of two things. You can donate and send somebody else on a mission trip. You can just donate to the mission. You can pray for us when we go. You can pray for the mission that it's doing the things that we want it to do, which is reaching people in the indigenous area and in this little town of Mauez, which is, if you went there today, you can say, wow, I'm really out of my element. It's not like the jungle. Well, it is in the jungle. It's in the jungle. But it's a town. They have cars and motorcycles and roads, and a lot of the roads are paved. Some of them aren't. A lot of people live there. But the common things that we would see here, like a big grocery store, they don't have that. They have smaller grocery stores. They have a few, like, I guess they are small grocery stores, and they have these little bodegas all over the place, and they have butcher shops, and but it's a desperate place. There's a lot of addiction there of varying kinds. There's a lot of the sex trade is there in varying ways. But there's a lot of churches there too, and they are reaching people. We work with a couple of the churches there. We know other missionaries there. There's an American missionary group there that we love. We love these guys, these people, men and women, godly men and women, called Overland. They're great people. They have helped us out tremendously, and we try and help them out whenever we can. So Nativos USA, you can give to that. There is good news. I'm looking at the screens behind Corey, and there's a lot of green on the screen today because there is a rumor that there is a proposed peace agreement with Iran. I can't tell you how big this is, if it's true. And I'm going to admit, I love Donald Trump. I love this administration and their attitude and the way that they love America. Now, a lot of people say, well, look, he says things I don't like. Well, yeah, okay. Yes. What am I going to say? Yes, he does. Um, and I'm going to take umbrage with him a little bit because I think we should have kept bombing Iran. I don't think we should have stopped. And I think the reason we did stop is because between us and the Jews, we had killed everybody in leadership. And that is true. We had killed everybody that could have made a decision to go into a peace agreement. And so we needed to figure out, this is my speculation, by the way. I don't know this to be fact, but that we had killed so many people in leadership, there was nobody to sign a peace agreement. And so we stopped after we had probably hit most of our military target deck. It's okay, let's see who's there. And so you've got this IRGC faction, which is the religious faction, along with the parliamentary faction, which is their normal government, fighting each other for a power vacuum to fill that void. And we're trying to figure out, well, who can we negotiate with to sign a peace agreement? I think we should have kept bombing. I could be entirely wrong on this. And Donald Trump has information that I'm never going to have, and that's probably never going to be released, well, for 25 years. Maybe he will release it after, if there's a peace agreement signed, but he's got better information than I have, and I'm going to have to trust him, even though I don't like what he's doing right now. I wish we would have kept bombing them into submission. But he said several times that we're not going to get a bad deal. So the Strait of Hormuz will be open, and there will be no tolls charged. And we're going to get their fissile material that they would have used to make a bomb, even if, they said, well, we could degrade it. We don't want that. You're going to have nothing. You're not going to have any uranium. If you need nuclear power, we'll help supply that. And they don't need it. They're not a nuclear power nation. So they've got way more than enough oil to burn and natural gas and all that stuff. Natural gas is a byproduct of drilling for oil. And you'll see this when you see, like, if you look at a picture of the Middle East and you see a tower with a flame burning, they're just flaring off that natural gas. They're not even using it. Well, that's a dumb thing to do. They could use that natural gas to create power, energy, all those things. Iran could be a very wealthy nation. It's just they got taken over by religious zealots whose main goal is not to be a wealthy nation. It's to kill Jews and Americans. And that's not going to happen. And people say, well, if they got a nuclear bomb, they're going to blow up Israel. I don't think they would do that. I think they're going to blow up the Middle East, because the religious component, the religious zealot component of Iran is made to suffer. You cannot outsuffer them. They will outsuffer you all day long. They'll kill their own family members to outsuffer you. That's nothing to them. And so they've seen what closing down the Strait of Hormuz would do. Imagine if it was totally unusable because, well, it didn't exist anymore, or it was a nuclear wasteland. That's what they're going to do. I've long believed that. Well, they'd love to kill Jews, and they've got other people to do that, and that's a big part of their mission, but they're going to make everybody suffer. They don't care if they're Jews or non-Jews or non-religious people or very religious people. Their job, their main mission is to make people suffer and bring about the end of the world, and that's what they would do. So don't get focused on, well, they're going to try and get a nuclear weapon to Israel. No, they're not. They're just going to blow up the strait. They'll probably blow up some other stuff over there. And I do think that they would do that. So I'm all behind the action in Iran that we've been taking. I just wish we would have bombed them more. I used to have a belt buckle as a kid that said, Iran sucks, because we've been through this before. Many times we've been here. Well, we finally have a president that's got the guts to walk through something, to walk through with it and actually do it. So I'm all for that. Let's see if there is a peace agreement, what it looks like. And I'm praying that Donald Trump is true to his word that we're not going to take a bad deal. We don't need to take a bad deal. We don't need to. I just filled my truck up with gas today. Yeah, it's expensive. It's just expensive. And that's the other thing that I want to talk about is that, the inflation that we're experiencing right now. We got an inflation report out this morning. It was like 3.8% year over year inflation. Well, that's going in the wrong direction. And it's hard to take. A lot of people cannot take the inflation that we're going through, mainly because it's on the energy side. And that means it's getting very expensive for people to drive. And it's not, if it for 1 month or 2 months, it's been like 80 days since this thing started, somewhere right around there. So it's been relatively short. But as you know, fuel prices have spiked. If we get a peace agreement and if oil starts flowing from the Strait of Hormuz, and we don't get any oil from there, none, we get none. It goes to India, it goes to China, it goes to other places. But we do get other things from there. We get fertilizer, we get helium. Helium, you use it to make microchips and to make your voice sound funny. But there's a lot of other stuff that comes out of there, and we do use that stuff. So that's one reason why groceries are going to be more expensive, because fertilizer is more expensive. We don't get any oil from the Strait of Hormuz. We're one of the biggest energy producers ever right now. And what does that have? Why is that? One, because we have natural gas out the yin yang. I mean, we have so much natural gas. We're the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. We're also the Saudi Arabia of oil right now. Part of it has to do with drill, baby, drill. That was way back in 2016, if you remember that. But part of it is we just have a lot of oil. And a couple of things that have happened. We did the Venezuela thing where we took out Maduro, and Venezuela's going to get reformed. And that oil is going to come back on the market. You're going to see the Strait of Hormuz open up, and that's going to open up supply to other parts of the world. You're going to see prices probably in the mid 60s in a month and a half. You got to get the cadence of shipping back. So there's ships sitting there. They need to go out and deliver their product, come back, refill, and go out and deliver their product. That's the cadence. And that needs to be happening. And that's going to, if we get the deal that we want, and it's a good deal for Donald Trump, which is a good deal for us, that's what's going to happen. And then you're going to see oil prices come down. So you're really looking at, from the moment that stuff opens, the moment that ships are flowing out of there, you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks. There'll be an immediate fall in oil prices just because the risk premium will come off. But you cannot have inflation running hot like this over and over and over again. Ask the Biden administration about that. It cost them the election. Well, their candidates suck. That also cost them the election, but inflation was a big part of that. I hammered on the Biden administration for inflation that they caused. They caused it. Well, this war is causing inflation too. So in essence, they're causing it. And if I'm going to be true to my word, we got to get inflation down. So how do you do that? How do you overcome the effect of inflation? One, you bring down costs, and you could do that by opening up the Strait of Hormuz. And if there isn't a peace deal, and we know that Iran is just kind of dragging this out and dragging us out, then the bombing should commence. You beat them into submission. That's what we do. You don't want to do what we want you to do? We're going to make you do what we want to do, and we're going to do it at the end of a B-2 bomber. That's what we should do if this peace deal isn't real. If it is real, you're going to bring down costs almost immediately. But what happens is there are costs that will come down, like the strawberries and fruit and other food that you need fertilizer for. That will come down, yes. But some costs stay high. They got there, they're staying there. They might come down a little bit. So what do you got to do? You got to grow the economy and increase wages. So if you have wage growth, productivity growth, you mute the effects of inflation, because costs went here, but your income is up here. It's rising. So if you can do those things, you can beat the long-term effect of inflation. But we got to start doing something. We cannot go through the midterms with costs like this, with gas like this. It will be detrimental to Donald Trump and his mission. So hopefully we have a peace agreement. It would be the best thing. We'd always rather do it through diplomacy, because whenever you're putting soldiers in harm's way, eventually bad things happen. And I know we've had I don't want to minimize, there's been, I think, 13 or 14 lives lost in the prosecution of this war, which is small. I mean, people get hurt in training every day. I used to tell our guys, I probably said this before, waking up wrong in the Army could get you killed because you got 18-year-olds driving tanks. You can't hear anything when you're in a tank. You'd be running over people. You can't hear them screaming. Can't hear anything. The only thing that you could hear is the voice in your ears, which is coming from your track commander, which was me. I was the track commander, telling my driver, watch out, you're about to run over people. Well, if I don't see him and he doesn't see him, what do you think is going to happen? So it's a dangerous business to begin with. There's inherent risk every single day when you're a soldier. And now you're adding the element of war and attack and the stress that that brings. People get hurt. So, we've lost some people, and that's always a tragedy. I don't want to see that happen ever. But these are the things that happen. And so the longer it goes, the more the risk is there. And again, I don't want a bad deal. We have an army and we have the armed forces for a reason. And the commander-in-chief is allowed to use those forces to prosecute our will. And our will is that we don't let Iran get a nuclear weapon and kill a bunch of people and probably kill us. So I'm all for it. I'd like to see it over or prosecuted so violently that they have to submit. Those are your two choices. Either buy peace or we're going to bomb you into submission. And how long would that take? Probably another month, month and a half. Yep, so peace is always a better option. Hopefully we have it. I'm going to trust that Donald Trump is going to work a good deal. I believe that he will, and I want you to believe it too. And I'm seeing in the stock prices that the stock market believes it too. So listen, if this is true, if this is the good news we've been waiting for, you've got to be an equity investor. We were just talking, one of our people bought a house. They took a bunch of money out of their account, bought a house. We've replaced all that money and more. The market is waiting to go up on good news right now. It is. And consumer spending, pretty good. Those numbers came out today. Consumer sentiment, like the Michigan survey, pretty good. Not great, but pretty good, all considering. And so that tells me that whenever there's good news, and I look on my screen and I see green, the prospect of good news, we're in the coiled spring area of the market. You get a settlement to this thing, and the market's going to take off like a coiled spring. It's going to unwind, and your accounts are going to skyrocket. But even if it takes a little bit longer, even if it does, the market is in a pretty good place. The economy's in a pretty good place. And once you get those fuel prices down, I'm telling you, this is a sweet spot that we're in right now, and you could be part of it. So I want you to be invested. But, whenever you invest, you got to think long term. So, of course, it's entirely possible that there's a piece of bad news waiting for us out there. I'm not worried about it. In fact, when the war started, I had some people call me and say, should we be concerned? And I said, I don't think so. And once again, what was I? I was right. Are you getting used to this? Are you getting used to me being right and you being wrong every time people panic? Look, if you look back let's go back to 2008. 2008, September 15th, Lehman Brothers folded. It was the worst market, the worst economy of our lifetimes, and we survived. And then Greece almost went out of business. Spain almost went out of business. All those things are happening, mainly because of the great financial crisis. We navigated all those things. We were buyers throughout it all. And then COVID hit. And we thought, oh my gosh, here we go again. We bought into COVID. We were right again. We bought into Liberation Day, right again. We bought into the war in Iran, right again. Are you seeing a pattern here? If you recognize the pattern, just raise your left hand and say, I submit to the pattern. If you follow that pattern, odds are you're going to be okay, but you have to think long term. If you get spooked every time the market goes down, there's a good chance you should buy bonds. okay? Or get a little re-education. And that's what we do for a lot of our people is not that, I mean, they're not dumb. Nobody's dumb. They're all smart. It's just, it's emotional. Losing money is very hard. And when the market's down, you're like, okay, I could take a week of this, and then it's week 2, and then it's week 3, and then it's week 4. You're like, Dave, are you a moron? I assure you I'm not. You got to stick with it. You got to think long term. If you can't think long term, or you're going to use the money to buy a house in 6 months, don't put that money in the market if you're not going to think long term with it. So how do you become a great investor? One, you have a budget and you have an emergency fund. So you have 3 to 6 months of your money in an emergency fund. And that way, if something comes up where you need that money, like you could need 4 tires, that's the emergency fund. You don't have to come to me in a down market for money because you've got that money set aside, and then you replace that money. And you should add to the emergency fund every year because costs are going up. Even when inflation was tame, like super tame, we were trying to create inflation. There was still inflation. So you still had to add money to that emergency fund. Got to be wise with these things. You got to be a little diversified. Don't put all your eggs in the one basket. Don't say, well, I got a great stock tip from my Uncle Louie, and I'm putting all my money in there. That's a great way to lose all your money. And by the way, in the great financial crisis of 2008, nobody lost, that worked with us, nobody lost all their money. We lost money for a time, yes, but nobody lost all their money. Listen, this is the way to go, I'm telling you. We're going to get a peace agreement eventually, whether it's today or not, where it's going to happen. 30 days, max. 45 days, maybe, you know. I am David Szafranski, a real American, a true red-blooded patriot, and the voice you can trust.